Hello everybody, and as you can see, this is our channel's first video, and also importantly, our first Skyrim commentary. Now, as you see, I am a level 51 Argonian with somewhat balanced skills, although I don't use magic nearly as much as some people do, although I do have some of the perks. I've gotten smithing and enchanting up to 100, so I do have full dragonbone armor and Daedric sword, dragonbone shield. I have the Titanus mod and a few others that are minor, such as black dragonbone armor, as an example. And I have beaten the primary quest and the companion's quest, besides the miscellaneous ones. But right now I am going to Yngvild to find a staff for Enthir. This Enthir person. I remember, I think it was him that also asked me to kill Parthenax, but I advise not killing Parthenax, considering he seems like the only nice dragon in Skyrim. Well, besides Odahviing, whom you meet and can command after you, well, once you're near the end of completing the dragon quest line. And really, you just don't listen to Enthir at all. But I guess to complete the quest, you have to get his staff for him. So, for the purpose of completion, I will listen to Enthir once. But what I don't understand is why they made loading screens 3D models of random things from the games. I guess it's just to entertain you while you're waiting to complete a game, but I still don't think that that should be used. It could at least be footage. And this is the Dawnstar Sanctuary, which is where the Dark Brotherhood relocates to after their base just became useless. So, also right here, I'm going to take advantage of having the Titanus mod, and I will give myself a tamed bear. By the way, this is the only time that I really ever use the console, is for giving myself a mount if I didn't already have one. And yes, the mounting animations are messed up, but this feature of Titanus is one of the best in my opinion, besides the swimming animation. And I really just don't see how they could have overlooked that, and the speed. It seems ridiculous that they couldn't even get a moving speed correct. And how does he, like, go underwater without drowning? Because it seemed like all of the characters would simply drown by being underwater for not all that long. But who knows? This is my first character. Argonian male. Another thing I don't get in this game is all of the terrain glitches, trying to jump over certain rocks and just hitting a seam. I believe they did a great job with it, but some things are just don't quite work perfectly. Although some things work too well, like being able to run up mountains and things like that. Like I can simply jump up a mountain, if I would care to. And sometimes they make it too hard to get up mountains. But a trick is really just to find a horse or any mount, really, if you have a mod that has more mounts. Then you can just keep trying to run up. And a lot of the time they'll be able to get past the steepness of the hills or mountains and get to where you need to go. But in this situation, my bear was too slow, so I just ditched him. But I still got up. So occasionally you can just simply walk up the mountains and down the mountains, but careful not to hop off, because even if you have very high armor rating like I do, you can still die from a simple fall of something like 15 feet. But I guess that can be attributed to the weight of your armor impacting you when you hit the ground. I don't know if they gave it that much thought when programming it, but they probably just made a certain distance kill you. Even though it's not fully realistic, considering you may break a leg or two but not die. And here I enter even guild, or whatever it's called, Yingvild, to find the staff for Enthir. And I believe most of the time that Torvar makes quite retarded comments, but he's the only companions member with one-hand sword and shield, so I chose him as a companion since that's the style I play, or magic and shield. But I think most of the time it's not too hard to find your way through caves, but if you really need help, then the clairvoyance spell is very useful. And usually I can either hold a sword and clairvoyance, or my sword and shield, or shield and clairvoyance, for example. Depends on if there's enemies around or not. And as you can see, I'm experiencing a bit of lag. Actually, quite a bit of lag, because I don't have the best computer, but some of it can also be attributed to running a recording program as well, which almost effectively cuts my FPS in half. Although Fraps was worse. But won't be too bad. Pwned. Although he's not very strong in general, but most caves can just be followed linearly and aren't too difficult. But sometimes when there are two paths, you can really just take either one, or just check the map after going a step in one, and you can find your way, like here. You can just look and it looks like it goes back anyway, so I would assume you'd go this way, even though there are enemies. But even if you don't have as good gears as I do, then you can still pass through the caves, because all of their levels are scaled depending on your level. And during the design process, I believe they tried to make most of the caverns linear enough to where you could go through them without too much difficulty, but adventurous enough where you can go through them and still have fun finding new areas that you didn't see the first time. But all the larger dungeons are the Dwarven or Dwemer dungeons, and those are also have automatons defending the ruins, and can be harder sometimes. And I've gotten lost, actually. In one of the Dwemer caves I got lost over 5 times, really. And although you may get lost, that is also fun, but I like to use clairvoyance to help guide me, because that's what it's intended for, obviously. And you may have seen I do have 3 enchantments on my sword, but that is a mod, but I do play on expert difficulty, so I feel that it balances that out and balances my dragon bone armor, but that's natural in the game, so I guess I would say that that doesn't need to be balanced.
Stand still.
Do I not have a shout equipped? I need to get ice form. And yes, I am a werewolf, if you saw my beast form power there. I am a werewolf and proud. I highly prefer it over vampire, because vampire, you don't really get very many benefits. You get attacked by everyone, you lose resistance to fire, you lose health, you lose magicka, you lose stamina. I see no point in being a vampire, when with werewolf you get full resistance to disease, although I already had 50% resistance, and people don't randomly attack you when you're in a village, and you don't have to consistently feed or consistently transform at all. You can just go about your business and then transform in places when you need to, or when you want to, whenever, really. And here, as I just walk through the dungeon, you can see it's not too difficult to navigate this dungeon and kill these Draugrs. Now, for some, the Death Lords may be harder. And I just got flown away by his Fusorda. Ridiculous Fusorda. But I should still be alive, yeah. And I also don't understand why so many people play in third person all the time, unless they're an archer. Obviously they're gonna play in first person because you can't aim nearly as well in third person. But I just feel like I can't see everything as well in third person, so I always play in first. But also in some of these dungeons there is an inner keep, and I guess this is just a room that is still part of it, but well, I'll enter this room. I'll be in this room in the next video, and just to say, this first video goes out to my friend Yun-Tae, who falls into the Asian stereotype of loving StarCraft and Skyrim. So, see you guys next time in my Skyrim Like Girls Love Games channel.